What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, coming at you today with a sore throat, so sorry if I'm a little quiet. But actually coming at you today with learning how to play performapals. So, if you don't know what a performapal is, let me just type this in for you real fast. Performapal is an archetype that has at 100 direct and indirect support cards, and somehow you can't make a pure deck with it. Well, you can, but it's not very good because every single Performapal relies on some sort of beatdown type thing. It actually has good consistency boosting stuff, like Guitardle plus Lizard Draw here is basically Pot of Greed. Performapal Recasting is a very good draw card. A lot of the Performapal Odd Eyes, which this deck kind of focuses on, are searchable like Sky Iris. Like, in theory, this deck should be nuts, but it's just not. It's really hard to build a pure Performapal deck without also going into like Odd Eyes stuff. But yeah, so this deck has always kind of just been, for me, it's always been like an enigma. I never understood it. So I spent some time, built a few builds. This was probably the most competent build I had. Well, I came up with two builds. The first was Laugh Maker Beatdown and Gatling Ghoul Turbo. So just going in this deck profile, uh, our deck focuses around summoning Gatling Ghoul. And let's go over Gatling Ghoul real fast. So he's a level 8 Fiend with 2900 attack, 900 defense, requires a Performapal monster and one level 5 or higher Dark monster. And if it's fusion summoned, you can burn your opponent for 200 damage for each card on the field. Then, if it was fusion summoned using a pendulum monster as material, which it will be, you get to destroy something on the opponent's field, well, a monster on the opponent's field, and burn them for that monster's attack points, and then you just do even more attacks. So yeah, Gatling Ghoul is a very good way to do damage fast. The issue is, Performapals only have one level 5 or higher Dark Monster and Archetype, and that's Odd Eyes Dissolver. So let's go over Odd Eyes Dissolver real fast. It's a pretty popular pick in most decks, so I wouldn't be surprised if you knew it already. But yeah, Performapal Odd Eyes Dissolver. Pendulum Monster, Pendulum 4. When it's in the scales, it lets you fusion summon a dragon fusion from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field fusion material. And its regular monster effect is that it special summons itself from hand when your Pendulum monster battles an opponent's monster, and your monster cannot be destroyed by battle if you do this. You can only use the second effect of Odd Eyes Dissolver once per turn. During the main phase, you can fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using cards you control as material, as well as monsters you control or cards in your Pendulum Zone. Uh, yeah, so basically, Dissolver lets you fusion from anywhere. Obviously, it is ideal to have him on the field because you just have so many places to grab materials from. But usually he is in the scale, which is why we are running the Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, which we'll go over in a little bit. So we do have a Dragon Fusion target to use. But yeah, it's a good card, good defense wall, and pretty vital to the whole strategy. Then we have the classic Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. It does have a effect where if it battles a monster, any battle damage it inflicts is doubled. And during the end phase, when it's activated in the scale, you can destroy it to add a pendulum monster with 1500 less attack from deck to hand. We mostly have him here as material. He is another Odd Eyes monster for Vortex Dragon, as well as a level 5 or higher Dark for Gatling Ghoul. He also gives us access to Lizard Draw and below, so it's yeah, he's pretty good, pretty solid boy. But he really is mostly just here for material. Now going into our actual Performapals, we have Performapal Silverclaw, a level 4 beast with a scale of 5. And its pendulum effect is that all Performapal monsters you control gain 300 attack, and when it declares an attack, all Performapal monsters you currently control gain 300 till the end of the battle phase. Uh, in a vacuum, it's not a very good card. But in a deck like this, where it's mostly about doing big damage fast, that includes attacking, Silver Claw is actually pretty vital to be able to get over those big monsters and just max out your damage potential in a pretty big way. So, yeah, I like him. Potentially more valuable is his other version, PerformapalGameplay Gold Fang. It has a burn effect when something is destroyed by battle, and it gives attack when it is normal summoned. So, yeah, no, it's definitely worth messing around with, I think. Let's see. Now, going further, we have Performapal Odd Eyes Minotaur. It's a scale 6, and its pendulum effects makes so that Performapal and Odd Eyes monsters do piercing. And during damage calc, if your pendulum monster attacks an opponent's monster when this is on the field, you can make that opponent's monster lose 100 attack for each Performapal and Odd Eyes card you control during damage calc only. It's mostly here for the piercing because beatdown, and it's just something else you can summon. No more reason for him. He is here to be a target for fusion summons because we need lots of monsters for this deck to work. Now we have Performapal Help Princess, the only non-pendulum in our deck. Level 4 Dark Warrior. And when you normally special summon a Performapal monsters except itself, you can, except during the damage step, special summon it from hand. It's just another good way to get materials on the field for link summons if you need them. Obviously, the Predaplant Vert Anaconda is a huge consistency booster for the deck, and it just requires 2 effect monsters. So assuming you have the monsters diffusion summon after making Vert, or I guess Clothiep, yeah, it's just puts you in a very good position. Now we have Lizard Draw and Guitardle, which we'll go over together because they kind of work together. So first, Guitardle. Guitardle's pendulum effect says that when another Performapal is activated in your other pendulum zone, you get to draw a card, this being a hard once per turn. Lizard Draw's pendulum effect is that if you have Performapal in your other pendulum zone, except itself, you can destroy this card, and if you do, draw a card as a hard once per turn. So, as you can see, you can activate Guitardle, activate Lizard Draw, draw a card, pop Lizard Draw, draw another card. So yeah, it's a really good combo, and they also have a couple monster effects of their own. Guitardle, once per turn, lets you increase the pendulum scale of a pendulum monster by 2 till the end of the turn. And Lizard Draw, when another face-up monster you control is destroyed by opponent's battle or card effect, lets you draw cards equal to the number of Performapal monsters you currently control. Also a hard once per turn. So, their regular monster effects hardly ever come up. Guitardle is surprisingly enough a very important free of in Laugh Maker Beatdown. But yeah, basically these two are a consistency boosting engine, and that is about the extent of what they do. Then lastly, we have Performapal Odd Eyes Unicorn, level 1, scale of 8. When it's normal or special, you can target a Performapal in your grave to gain life points equal to its attack. And in the pendulum scale, when this is in the scales, you can, and your Odd Eyes monster declares an attack, you can target a Performapal monster you control to make that monster gain attack equal to the original attack of the monster that is attacking currently, even if this card leaves the field. So, it's a pretty good high scale. A good way to gain life points back, and it is searchable, so it's another Performapal Odd Eyes monster being used for fusion summon, so yeah, it's solid. Now moving into Risk Spell and Trapline, we have free Poly, because this is predominantly a fusion deck, and we need it a surprising amount of the time at free. Performapal Recasting lets you shuffle Performapal monsters from your hand back into the deck, then redraw cards from your deck equal to the number you shuffled back, +1 as a hard once per turn. So, yeah, honestly, it's super good. And between this, Lizard Draw, and Guitardle, the deck is pretty consistent, generally. Terraforming to search our field spell, which is Sky Iris. Sky Iris, as I said, is a field spell. While it's active, your opponent can target Magician, performapal, or Odd Eyes cards in the Pendulum Zone with card effects. And once per turn, you can target another face-up card in the field, destroy it, and if you do, add an Odd Eyes card from your deck to your hand as a hard once per turn. So yeah, as you can see, this searches Odd Eyes Dissolver, regular Odd Eyes Minotaur, and Odd Eyes Performapal Unicorn thing. So yeah, it's really good. Protecting the scales is pretty nice, and it's a huge consistency booster, mostly because it does search Odd Eyes Dissolver. Now for our other 6 cards, we have Free Called by the Grave, because this is a going second deck. We need the ability to play through certain hand traps. And Free Mystical Space Typhoon, because you really cannot risk losing cards in this deck, and removing spell traps from the field is pretty nice. Now for the extra deck, we already went over Gatling Ghoul. Now we'll go over Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon real fast. Requires an Odd Eyes monster and a pendulum. And when it's special summoned, you can target and spin a attack position monster. And when a spell trap or another monster effect is activated as a quick effect, you can take a face-up pendulum monster from your extra deck, shuffle it back, and negate that effect and destroy it. So yeah, gives you somewhat of a first turn option. It's not super great only having one negate, but against some decks that's really all you need. Like I don't know what to say, but yeah, you could probably run it at less, but I enjoy running it too for those just in case moments. Now we have the Utopia set of Utopia, Utopia Prime, and Utopia the Lightning for all of our beating over monster purposes. Boral Sword for OTKs, Boral Load to steal monsters, Nightmare Package. We have the Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. This is a lot of Pendulum monsters, so being able to go into those Pendulum summons easier is always nice. Plus, the drawing is pretty dope. We have Clawfeep, which I believe I went over before, but this is a fusion deck, and Clawfeep is nuts in fusion. Whenever a fusion monster is special summoned to one of its zones, you get to a monster reborn something. So, yeah, Clawfeep is definitely worth a spot just in case. And then we have Predoplant, Vert, Anaconda. I don't think I've ever gone over this card before, so let's do that now. So it requires 2 effect monsters, and once per turn lets you target a monster on the field to make it a dark until the end of the turn. You can also pay 2,000 life points and send a polymerization normal or quick play spell, or a fusion normal or quick play spell from your deck to the grave, and then you activate its effects. However, you are not able to special summon for the rest of the turn after that. So yeah, like I said, this is just a consistency booster for getting out Gatling Ghoul and doing some big damage. And yeah, it's good. You really only need it at 1 because it's fairly easy to make. But yeah, it's a good card. Run it. Now for the sideboard, it's pretty basic. We have Nibiru for combo decks, Gamecill for sort of like make one big bad boy passes. Free Lightning Storm. I've never really used Lightning Storm in a deck before, so let's go over it real fast. It's a normal spell. Can only be activated if you control no face-up cards, and it activates one of 2 effects as a hard once per turn. You destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls, or you destroy all of their spell traps. So going second, this is a huge boon as it lets you clear out boards pretty easily. However, not everyone is running one or the other in a huge way, so it's not always necessary. But yeah, run it. It's a cool card. We also have free Infinite Impermanence for effect negation and free red reboot for the trap heavy matchups. So yeah, basically the idea for this deck is to use the natural consistency boosting that is the performapal Odd Eyes engine in order to fusion summon Gatling Ghoul or Vortex Dragon, and then go in for big damage, hopefully. It's not You don't build huge board presence with this deck, but it's definitely funny if it actually works, and it can work a little bit. But we'll show you that, guys, later. So if you're new here, we just go over a couple replays. I go over the combos, what works, what doesn't, what I feel I need to fix possibly. But yeah, all that being said, let's see you guys in the first replay. All right, going to the first replay with CWO Victor. We are Trixie because we are stage performers. That's right. I bet you didn't know. Also kinda brony. Yeah. How's that for some sick Ronin lore? But yeah, so we were playing against Volcanic Fire Kings. Uh is it Volcanic Fire Kings? It's not quite. He's playing Volcanic Hammerer though, so or that's Slicer, not Hammer. So that's neat, and he's opened up pretty decently, and our opponent will be going first, so let's go and see what he does. So it starts with the Foolish Burial to send the Shell. Shell will be able to get him another copy of Shell later. But he's going to summon Rocket, get the Blaze Accelerator reload, and 1 second. Yeah, alright, so that's good. Sorry, I was a little quiet on my end, but yeah, so he's going to go and use the Shell after that to get another Shell from his deck. Then he will set the reload as well as a called and another called. The calls aren't so good because we are a pendulum deck. The reload though is pretty good, especially considering he does have a shell in hand. But it is our turn, and we are going to draw into the poly, which is really good. We'll start by activating the recasting. He's going to chain the reload to that. Drop a shell to draw a shell. Unfortunate, so we're shuffling back 2, meaning we get to draw 3. We'll activate the Sky Iris. Activate Polymerization to go ahead and summon out our Gatling Ghoul. I probably could have done more of this. Could I have actually? Yeah, I could have, I think. Yeah, we're gonna summon Gatling Ghoul. Gatling Ghoul burns him for 1200 because there are 6 cards on the field. Then with its effect, because it was fusion summoned using a pendulum monster, we burn for another 1900. We activate the Silver Claw in order to give it another 300. Then we are going to be activating the Dissolver, then using Sky Iris to pop our Dissolver to search the Odd Eyes Unicorn. Which we'll now go into the battle phase for. We just add it to hand and then not activate it because we won't do us any good on the field because we don't have anything to pendulum summon. And this way, if Gatling Ghoul is destroyed, we can summon our Unicorn and just get life points back. But yeah, now is our opponent's turn. He is going to draw. He did draw the Scatter Shot, which is unfortunate for us, but he is going to go ahead and use Reload to drop a shell, drawing into the Pot of Extravagance and normal summoning Fire King Avatar Ganesha, so that is a monster effect negation. He's going to pass it up there, so it's our turn. We get another recasting. He's going to go ahead and use the Scatter Shot to blow up our field and burn us for 1500. So we take 500, take another 5, take another 5, which hurts. So we go ahead and activate the recasting, shuffling back the Unicorn in order to draw 2 cards. Then we're going to use Sky Iris to pop Silver Wolf in order to add the Odd Eyes Dissolver. So we are now able to refusion into our Gatling Ghoul. Burn. Unfortunately, Ganesha does happen. So we are just able to attack over at this point, and he has lost his Barrier Statue of the Inferno. He still does have the Pot of Extravagance though, so he is pretty much still in this game. This is his turn. He's going to draw, activate the Extravagance naturally. Draw 2, gets the Torrential, sets the Ganesha. Yeah, no, that makes sense actually. Then it's our turn, so we're going to draw. We're just going to try to go into battle phase. He will go ahead, activate the reload to drop the rocket, get a draw. We're going to go ahead and use Call by the Grave to permanently shut down those scatter shots, though that was probably a mistake on my part. And then it is our turn, continued into the battle phase. Oh wait, it's fine. Sorry about that. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and attack over the Ganesha, then it is our opponent's turn again. he summons the Royal Firestorm Guards to go ahead and shuffle back and draw some stuff, which he chains up with a Torrential Tribute. Fortunately, he did use his normal summon, so not much you can do there, but he did get another Torrential Tribute, which is unfortunate for us. So we draw, we get the Minotaur. At this point, we're summoning and just trying to attack because he only has 100 life points. Unfortunately, we do get Torrential Tributed. Then our opponent's turn, he is going to summon Barrier Statue of the Inferno and just sort of start going into beatdown mode. Then it's our turn once more. We draw the Odd Eyes Dissolver, which we'll activate in order to pop with Sky Iris to search another Minotaur, which we'll summon and attack. And that is the game. So yeah, that was the deck doing pretty well. Basically, like I said, just wants to summon Gatling Ghoul. As you saw, Gatling Ghoul did some pretty big damage. If our opponent had not had a negate, he would have lost when the second one was summoned. But even then, it still gets to pretty big numbers. So Gatling Ghoul is a really fun card to use if you can pull it off. The issue is you need a lot of monsters for this deck to work, and you're going to see that in the next replay. I'll see you guys there. Okay, welcome to the second replay with SX and Steven. And we are going first this time. So it's our turn. We are going to go ahead and activate the Sky Iris. Activate Guitardal, activate the performapal Odd Eyes Dissolver to get a draw off Guitardal. Then we'll use the Sky Iris to pop Guitardal to add the Odd Eyes Minotaur, who will now summon, which will get us the Help Princess. We make Utopia. Go ahead and just set our MST and pass it up. So this deck doesn't really have first turn plays if it cannot access its fusions. I probably should have searched Dissolver there to search the Vortex Dragon. But that was my bad. That was very much my bad. Yeah, but our opponent is now playing Heroes, activates the E in order to get the Honesty Neos. Summon Stratos. Stratos gets him the Aduster Gold for the Dark Calling. He activates Ferris's effect to summon it, putting the Increase into the Spell and Trap card zone. When he tries to activate Increase by tributing Ferris, we're going to go ahead and hit it with that sick MST. Because you won't get to summon it then. And then he is just going to go ahead and make some evil hero plays. Pop our stuff. Attack, attack, attack for game. So yeah, as you saw, we got OTK'd because we could not make a fusion monster. So that's the big problem with this deck. Like I said, the board presence isn't huge, and most of the time the whole play is just make a fusion monster. So not the best concept to build a deck around. However, I do believe this deck was fun, and I think with a bit of refinement, it could be, I don't know, it could be something casually more viable. But yeah, all that being said, let me know what you guys think. How can I make this deck better? Because even watching it now, I feel like there are different techs I could perform with this to make it work more. And just, I don't know, I feel like I could be doing more of this. I really do. But yeah, let me know what you think more could be, if you have any idea what more could be, and if maybe you know any really good pure performapal builds, because I've never seen a really good pure performapal build. Like obviously there's like Pepe, but that doesn't really work anymore. Like I'm talking like all the cards are performapal. All to most of the cards, anyway, are like performapal or performapal support. But yeah. That all being said, like if you like, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.